My wife was with her lover, pretending their daughter was her niece. I found out the truth and filed for divorce. I'm in a strange situation. I'm not sure where to begin. I'm a 34-year-old man, married to Harper, who is 28, for more than a year. I met her 2 years ago when she was a waitress at a restaurant. I was a store manager at a supermarket. Her restaurant was a short walk from my supermarket, and we often took the same bus home after work. We caught the final bus back home. She lived one stop before me. We probably wouldn't have seen each other if it were just a regular busy day. That was the final bus on that route, and it was vacant. We rode together for about a month, but never spoke. I noticed her before. She was beautiful and didn't seem like a city person. She was missing for 3 to 4 days after a month. I assumed she had quit or switched her hours. When I saw her again, I asked her if she was on leave. She agreed. She wasn't feeling well. That's how the conversation began. She had a roommate who worked as a cashier at another restaurant. We got to know each other and enjoyed hanging out. We were both from far-off parts of the country and connected easily. There were no family members living in the city. We didn't have many friends. I lived in the city for 3 to 4 years, and she came here 2 years ago. Most of our friends were colleagues. My roommate got a new job in another part of the city after a few months, so he moved out. Harper and I began sharing a place. I took the initiative. I wasn't in a desperate situation. I really cared for her. She was quite shy and ended up relying on me. I enjoyed keeping her safe. After a year of knowing each other, I asked her if she wanted to meet my parents. She agreed. I brought her along on my next trip to my house. My family was happy to have her over. We were there for one day. She mentioned that she liked my family a lot. After a few months, I asked her to marry me. She agreed. I pushed for a meeting with her family. She only had her mother, an older sister, and a niece. Harper had a strong bond with her niece. This turned into an issue for me. We'll get to that later. I went to see them. They were kind individuals. One more thing. Harper was the main provider for her home. Her mother and sister worked on the farm, but the income wasn't enough to get by. Harper moved to the city and found a job. I felt a sense of pride in knowing this. I began to appreciate her more than I did before. She was a responsible person, taking care of her family, unlike those city girls relying on their boyfriends or fathers for money. We tied the knot after knowing each other for a year. It was a simple gathering with family and friends. We had our wedding at my family's church. That has always been our tradition. Harper and her family were okay with coming to my hometown. Since we began dating, Harper often mentioned her niece. We'll refer to her as Simi. She is 6 years old. She mentioned wanting a good life for Simi. I supported her because it seemed right. It was a really good thing to do. Harper mentioned that her sister is a single mom. Her husband left when Simi was just a few months old. Since that time, she has been staying with Harper and her mother. Harper mentioned she never wanted to marry anyone until she met me. She mentioned that her past boyfriends weren't comfortable with Harper being so close to her niece, and that she was taking care of her. I didn't think that was an issue. It was Harper's job to look after her family. Harper's care for her niece was a kind gesture. Harper wanted to take Simi to the city and enroll her in a modern school. Simi attended a community school with outdated facilities. I asked her if her sister would be all right with her little girl living so far away. Harper asked, why not? It's for her better future. Harper planned to take a culinary course and change her career to become a chef. That would offer her a higher salary. She saved money for that course. Harper used to help with the household expenses when we lived together. But after we got married, she said she wanted to save more to take her course as soon as she could. She mentioned it would take about 3 months. I decided to cover the costs by myself. It was hard for me to handle for 2 people. I was getting by on each paycheck with no savings at all. Once she finished her course, she began looking for a chef job. She believed she would land a high-paying chef job right after finishing her course. High-paying jobs require experience. She landed a job, but the salary was lower than she anticipated. It was a bit more than what she earned as a waitress. Once she landed the job, she made it a point to bring her niece along and enroll her in a good school. I'm not against her wanting to educate her niece, but she needs to be realistic about it. I told her to hold off for a year and find a better paying job before taking on such a big responsibility. I don't want to come off as greedy, and I'm not after her money, but the reality is Harper has stopped contributing to the house. Earlier, she mentioned wanting to save for the course, but now she claims she is saving for Simi's admission fee. I have tried to explain to her that it's a significant responsibility and she isn't prepared for it. Whenever I mention this topic, she gets upset and says I'm acting like her past boyfriends who didn't want her to take responsibility. She claims she won't shift Simi's responsibility onto me, but how can I get her to understand that I've been handling that responsibility for over a year now? I realize people might think I'm insensitive for not backing her on this. I want to help her, but my income just doesn't let me. I don't have a high-paying job that can cover the costs for both of us. I have a feeling that Harper will spend all her salary and Simi's school fees, leaving me to cover the household expenses for all three of us. I'm looking for an unbiased viewpoint. Am I wrong for preventing Harper from taking on her niece's responsibilities? Update 1. Appreciate the support. I used to feel bad about being insensitive to Simi, but I see now that you all are correct. Harper didn't think things through regarding the situation. A few weeks ago, Harper went back to her hometown. She brought Simi with her. She didn't mention that she was bringing her right away. When I asked her, she said yes. Haven't we been talking about this for a while? She tried to get Simi admitted, but it was not accepted. Simi failed to get through the school interview. She lacked the necessary knowledge for the class she was interviewing for. Another issue arose. There wasn't enough money. Harper chose to enroll Simi in private coaching to improve her skills and took on another job to save for the admission fee. Unfortunately, the household expenses landed on me alone. Harper and I hardly speak to one another now. She works as a chef during the day and waits tables at night. On her day off, she hangs out with her niece. I didn't say anything because I'm also drifting away from Harper. I just don't feel that closeness and affection for her. It could be due to her behavior over the past few months. I'm not on her list at all. It seems like she only cares about her family and her niece. I no longer feel her love and warmth. Every time I bring up the house bills, she asks me to cover them for a while until Simi is admitted to school. She claimed she had figured it all out. Her salary should cover Simi's school fees and their part of the household expenses. I have tried to explain to her that it's not only about the school fees. There are many other costs in school, like projects, trips, and more. I suggested enrolling Simi in a different school with lower fees, but Harper is set on sending her to an international school. I'm not sure why she is so eager to get Simi into the international school immediately. The admission season has ended. I told her to wait a year, but she seems rushed and is willing to pay extra to get admitted midterm. I'm not sure how much longer I can keep my anger in check before I lose it. I don't usually act on impulse or aggression. I'm dealing with her for as long as possible. I'm not sure where this is going. I would like some advice on how to handle this situation. Update 2. Things are not improving. My marriage is struggling. 3 months ago, Harper started a head chef position with a nice signing bonus. Simi had enough from the joining bonus and her savings for her admission. This time she passed her admission test, but a new concern arose. The school also wanted to talk to the parents. Harper hadn't asked about the admission process earlier. A new policy at this modern school aims to check if students come from a good family background to improve the school culture. The school implemented this policy due to the increasing number of drug-addicted parents in the city. They don't want kids from those parents in the school because they might negatively affect the other children. It's tough for those kids, but that's just the reality. Harper's sister has never attended school. International schools only accept children whose parents have completed at least high school. Harper found a strange way to solve this issue. She wanted us to take Simi in as our daughter. Absolutely. She mentioned that she would have adopted her as a single mother, but now that we're married, we need to adopt her together as parents. I support noble acts, but it should be my choice, not something forced on me. Harper was doing just that. She was putting her niece's responsibility on me. She doesn't understand that adopting means taking my name. It's a big responsibility, and I don't feel prepared for it. When she requested that I volunteer for adoption, I finally asked her the tough question I had been putting off. I inquired about our kids. I mentioned to her that she was intending to use all her money on her niece. What will happen when we have kids? How should we handle the expenses? I honestly said that raising a baby was just not something I could do by myself. Even those in corporate jobs require two incomes to raise kids and live well. She replied, saying, "Let's not have kids then." I lost my cool and left the house, hoping she has a good life with her niece. It was the first time I completely lost my temper. She came outside and kept apologizing. I ignored her and walked out of the house. She kept calling me and left a voicemail saying she didn't mean it. She said it in a moment of anger. She kept apologizing and expressing her love for me. I returned home and informed her that I wouldn't be adopting her niece as my daughter. She attempted to persuade me, but I firmly stated that I wouldn't. She stayed quiet, but clearly isn't pleased with my choice. I realize I should have talked to her about our kids long before she introduced her niece into our lives. I honestly didn't expect that at all. We talked about having kids in 2 to 3 years, and she was on board. I'm not sure how I could have figured it out differently. I'm not sure, everyone. I'm wondering if I'm the only one overthinking this, or if others also find it strange how obsessed she is with her niece. I have no idea. Perhaps I'm just overanalyzing. I don't have siblings, so I might not understand what it's like to love them unconditionally. She claimed to love her sister and niece without any conditions. Update 3. I'm really happy I shared my worry here. I gain a lot of new viewpoints that I wouldn't have considered before. I followed the advice and bought a pie on Harper. If you all hadn't suggested that angle, I would have never considered it. People hire private investigators when they think someone is cheating or involved in something suspicious. It wasn't present in my situation. It was just a financial issue regarding her niece, but I'm glad I made the right choice. It turned out to be a cheating case. The agency discovered that Simi was really Harper's daughter, not her sister's. What she said about her sister was the true story of Harper. She had a boyfriend back home who got her pregnant and disappeared when he found out. At that point, getting an abortion was no longer an option. Harper lived in a small town, and this news could spread quickly. Harper's mom sent her to her aunt. She lived with her sister until Simi was about 1. At the same time, her sister dealt with issues in her marriage that ultimately resulted in a divorce. The sisters returned to their mother with Simi. They claimed that Simi was the daughter of her sister. It was an easy lie. They were getting by with farm work and odd jobs, but it was becoming tough to make ends meet, so Harper decided to move to the city. She was the only person in her family to finish high school. She aimed to create a better life for her daughter. Simi's birth certificate listed Harper as the mother. I felt really down when I found this out. I cried in the agency office. I tossed Simi's birth certificate at Harper. She went pale and froze in place. She hesitated and admitted that she was scared to tell me she had adopted Simi right after her birth. She had no idea I knew everything about her background. She mentioned that her past boyfriends ended things when they found out she had adopted her sister's daughter. She kept this from me. She really went ahead and made one. More lies on my face. I yelled at her that I knew all her secrets and tossed the agency's full report at her. She looked at it and then stopped. She realized that I was aware of everything and there was no use in continuing to lie. She finally confessed that everything was true. I asked her why she never told me the truth. She mentioned that she had a long-term boyfriend before me, but he broke up with her after she shared her past. He just didn't want to take care of her child. I asked her if she had planned to bring up the adoption issue with me. She agreed. I stopped feeling sorry for her. If she had been honest with me during our relationship, I might have considered adopting her daughter. Many men will marry single mothers if she is upfront about her past, but she decided to mess around. I told her to leave and that I was getting a divorce. She pleaded and wept, but I remained indifferent. It was nighttime. I told her to go the next morning. I stayed at a hotel that night to avoid being manipulated. I was sure about my decision, but the emotional drama really took a toll on me. The next day when I got home, she and her daughter were gone. 1 week has passed. I filed for divorce. My marriage ended in less than a year, and I don't have much wealth to argue over. I'm hoping the divorce goes smoothly. Update 4. When the divorce papers arrived, Harper rushed over to my house. I don't understand why it caught her off guard. She mentioned that she didn't think I would divorce her over something so minor. She hid her daughter, claimed she was her niece, and then pressured me to adopt her. To her, these were just minor issues. She said, "I thought you were just upset for a bit, so I let you take some time to calm down. Don't rush into decisions. Let's work through this together." She said she didn't cheat on me, either emotionally or physically. She didn't speak to anyone or sleep with anyone while we were together. That's true, but isn't keeping such serious information a form of cheating? I said, let it be. She can name it anything she likes. I decided to get a divorce. Even if I can forgive her for the lies, how can I trust that she would choose me over her daughter? Or at least give it the same importance. She didn't want to have kids either. I mentioned that I had fallen out of love after discovering the truth, and even earlier when she put her niece, who she treated like a daughter, ahead of our marriage. She wouldn't let me get near her. Before everything came to light, we had been intimate several months back. She was either at work or exhausted from it. This is definitely a reason to reconsider the marriage. She pleaded that she loved me and would do anything to save the marriage. I told her she could plead and beg as much as she wanted, but it didn't matter. After that, she walked out of the house. The following day, her mother called me in tears. She mentioned that her older daughter is already divorced, and she can't stand the thought of her younger daughter going down the same road. She requested one final chance with Harper. They argued that Harper was faithful to me. I told her I was sorry she had to ask me, but there was nothing I could do. After a month of back and forth, she finally signed the divorce papers. I can't feel any better than this. It felt really overwhelming. Wow. I expected divorce to be hard, but my marriage was short enough that I didn't feel a deep sadness. In the past 3 to 4 months, I fell out of love after she brought Simi into her home. It turned out to be a blessing that helped me emotionally detach from Harper. Now, this divorce feels liberating. One piece of advice is to do a background check before getting involved with someone. It doesn't matter how much you trust someone or if they seem fine. Always run a background check before getting serious. It can save you a lot of trouble. I'll be online for a bit if anyone wants to chat. I can't do that. I really appreciate all the support from this community. Very thankful for it. I had a relationship with the wife of my wife's affair partner, and I'm getting a divorce soon. We tied the knot nearly 3 years back. She began an affair with her coworker a year ago. I found out because I saw his car parked outside my house one day. I suspected something was off. I hired someone and collected proof that she was cheating on him. I felt a surge of anger. I received a call from my coworker's wife. She found out about the affair. She only has the texts they sent, but I have all the proof of their hangouts. We decided to confront them. We met up frequently. She mentioned that she had suspected his affair since she got pregnant. They have 3 kids together. One day, we thought it would be a good idea to sleep with each other as a form of revenge. We did it, and honestly, it felt good. We've been seeing each other and being intimate for some time. She is a remarkable woman. She excels in certain aspects of intimacy compared to my wife. I feel a lot of anger towards my wife. In some of her messages with her affair partner, they mocked AP's wife, making comments about her weight, saying her vagina was ruined, and other gross remarks. I can't believe she would say something like that as a woman. She mocked my fertility issues, saying I'm not a man because my chances of having kids are very low. I don't regret my affair. I prefer the intimacy I experienced with my AP's wife over what I have with my own wife. She rarely gives me oral, but wants me to give her one. AP's wife was definitely more into it, and it turned out to be the best oral I've ever experienced. AP's wife wants to share something with him. It seems we are both worn out from this revenge situation. We lost control. We became so consumed by our desire for revenge that it turned into an obsession. I will talk to my wife soon. I've got the divorce papers prepared. Since we don't have a joint account or shared assets, it should be straightforward for us. AP's wife could face some issues due to the kids, but she has the ability to gain a lot from the situation. I realize I might come off as a terrible person. I'm already done with my marriage. Update 1. I had an encounter with my wife's affair partner's wife, and I'm planning to divorce her soon. I completely forgot I had this Reddit account. I have an update, as many of you asked for. I handed her the divorce papers on July 16th. I postponed it because I had to sort some things out. I delivered the divorce papers to her at her workplace. When she got home, I gathered her stuff and told her to go stay with her dad. She acted like many cheaters do, begging, apologizing, and placing the blame on me for her affair. I was ready for everything that came my way. She was determined and said she wouldn't leave, insisting she would work on our marriage. I told her the house is my parents'. The house is in their name. If she doesn't move out, I can contact them to get her evicted. I had called her sister already. I was worried she would leave me for her, but her sister pointed the finger at me instead. I'm not a good husband if I'm letting my marriage go so easily. I pointed out that it seemed hypocritical for her to say that, considering she left her husband for his cousin. The apple stays close to the tree. She hit me. I told her this is her final opportunity, or I will report her to the police for assaulting me. Once she was gone, the messages kept coming. I didn't block her since I wanted to take screenshots of some of it. She apologized, asking me to give her another chance. She ridiculed me, claiming she never enjoyed any of our intimate moments and that she and her affair partner had sex on every piece of furniture in our home. I'm not sure how much of this is true, but I'm going to replace my furniture anyway. I wanted to tell her that I had sex on her car. However, I did not. She said sorry the last time we talked. This time, the apology feels genuine. She said she lost control. Recently, she has been considering having children. As I said before, I cannot have children. She understood that and said she wants to be child-free. Now that she is in her mid-30s, she really wants to become a mom. Not being able to give it to her made her angry, and she cheated to deal with it. She admitted she was wrong and said I was the best partner and husband anyone could ask for, but she just wanted more. I asked her why she didn't just say that. We could have chosen adoption or visited a sperm bank. I inquired if she was expecting a baby. I'm not sure, but it seemed like she was. She softly said yes. I realized this wasn't my child. All hopes for reconciliation are gone now. What if I had never found out about the affair? She would have called this pregnancy a miracle baby. I congratulated her and wished her a wonderful baby. I need this divorce done quickly. AP's wife took care of him while also making sure she got what she deserved. She won't give up. I spoke to her a few times. She expressed frustration about wasting her best years and youth on a terrible man. She said she gave up her modeling career to be with them. I believe she still looks attractive. We lost touch for some time. One time, she sent me a drunk text with a suggestive picture asking me to come over. I said no. She apologized after that. We aren't looking to date right now. Not until the divorce proceedings are complete. I really miss her. I got a cat. My ex-wife disliked cats. My house is going to be a cat paradise.